Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Connor Jones, and I am with Project LEAP. I will be testifying on HB 1500, commonly known as the fetal heartbeat. This testimony is not based on pro-life or pro-choice, but a different matter altogether. In 1973, the Roe versus Wade legalized abortion, making it a right. The heartbeat, that didn't get passed not too long ago. Basically, it undermines this law by civil right. This loophole in the law allows the state to have the ability to restrict a right through civil lawsuit. People are allowed to sue the doctor that performed the abortion on the patient. So if other laws like this are to come to pass, gun clerks could get sued for selling us our guns. A priest could be sued for preaching us our religion. A person could be sued for speaking freely about the government. My right of Section 504 could be ripped from my grasp if this policy is allowed, and that worries me. As a citizen of the state of Texas, for my friends with disabilities, it worries me. Thank you for your time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Prove it, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, one thing that's always good, after you give factual, sometimes it is very good to sort of, if you have a personal story or something.
That was my personal
Yeah, okay, and then, sometimes, if you, like you said, Section 504, you might just add, it's an act of rehabilitation, because they won't know what Section 504 is. You know it, I know it, but HW may not, as a staff person. So, you don't need to go into detail, but, but I just have learned that a good succinct, because that was excellent. You did it in a very short time, very good, and you brought up some personal, but as much as you can. And if you have anything that relates to any of the districts that the committee that you're testifying, really focus in on that, So you would say, Senator Birdwell, I know it's a House bill, but he's a senator, but Senator Birdwell, many of our people are in your district or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you did a great job, Connor, and you really made good eye contact with the folks up here, and that's important when you come to share a message up here in the legislature, is to make some eye contact and to level with us. And I thought you spoke from your heart on the issue, and really appreciate your time up here. Thank you.
Good job, Connor. Way to take on a controversial issue.
Hi, my name is Hunter Westbrook.
Hi, my name is James Pope. We are with Project.
We are with Project LEAP.
We are testifying
We are testifying
for HB 24.
Take your time, just, get your thoughts, and
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
we're listening.
accessible playgrounds will not only encourage friendships and socialization. Inclusive playgrounds will also grant children access, as featured with all disabilities and struggles. I remember back when I was young and being able to play with the other kids. I think it would be devastating if my kids or any other with certain disabilities to not be able to do the same privileges that I have.
In addition, accessible playgrounds eliminate the damaging bias and barriers and promote inclusion to the community.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you for your time, and we are happy to answer any questions you might have.
You know, what some of the chair may turn to his or her clerk and say, are you sure you both have turned in cards or did the Senate what? You know, you'll see them fumbling up here, looking to make sure that you're both, if you do go up as a team, you know, they're gonna want to make sure, because you may not be one right after the other in the witness list automated, so they may just stop at the beginning and just make sure that you're there. But you did make it personal, you were short, and you know, I think you got the point across in a very short time, which is important, especially if others too have made the same point. Always testify, but just hone in on the points that you feel most personally, because that is, you know, again, I've just learned over and over again, they get a lot of policy, but they don't get the human side, and that's where I think your power can be. And that the senator or the rep won't tell you that, but that's just an observation.
Yeah, I think that's right. And another part of all this is after you give your testimony, which all of y'all have done a good job with that, you might get some questions from the legislators. And so if you guys don't mind, I'd like to ask y'all a couple questions. Connor, on your testimony, do you think it's important to protect Roe v. Wade?
Yes.
Great, that's a great answer. And then for you guys, on the accessible playgrounds, do you guys think that would help a large number of the community if the playgrounds were more accessible?
Definitely. We both have disabilities. I, for example, have autism. I moved from Montgomery, and I moved to Montgomery back when I was in 4th grade, and I was thankful to be included with all the other kids. And I'd hate for the many kids in the future to not have the same privilege as I did.
Awesome.
That is so perfect, and what HW did is, by asking you a question, it opens up your time.
Mm-hmm.
See, there is no time limit. Obviously, you don't want to go on and on, but what you just did is perfect. You personalized it, you identified your disability, but not in a negative way, but how it affected you personally. So if you are asked a question, and it gives you an opportunity to expand on some of that and use it to your advantage to get your personal story out, because they don't always ask questions.
That's right, yeah. And another important thing to remember is that everything you have to say is important, and everyone up here needs to hear it. But not everyone agrees with everything that you may say. And Connor, for example, I come from a different part of the state, and I'm a very pro-life guy. But I loved hearing what you had to say, and I thought it was important for you to say it.
And yeah, and this isn't really about the pro-life or pro-choice
Right.
section of this. It's about that the government has the ability
Mhm.
to take away our right of the laws
Mm-hmm.
just with this loophole that they've gladly let in.
Great. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Good job. What a good first round.
Hello, my name is Luke Hughes, and I am with Project Leap. I will be testifying for HB 2297. Why we have bills is because, it's mostly because students need proper time to learn, students who are sent home early feel left out, and especially students have a right to an education. And I was sent home many times due to behavior issues. When I went home, I felt tired. It was hard to learn the skills. I needed to learn how to interact. Thank you for your time. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Real quick, for the record, are you for or against the bill?
4.
You're for the bill? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Luke. That was clear and concise, and you told me the name of the bill, which is really important, and you told me where you fell on the issue. You were for it, and I thought you took care of it in the quickest time possible, which up here is just worth its weight in gold. It's a good thing.
Oh yeah.
To get your message out clear and concise, and you did that perfectly.
Oh yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, I do really good at talking with all the correct words that I say out loud.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, so this past February of 2022, I went to Denton. My mom took me to Denton to Embassy Suites. I got a little nervous about speaking up in front of a crowd, but then I learned to help myself out, not to be nervous, and went up there all by myself and spoke to the whole people, to the whole audience.
Good job, Luke. You did good right now too, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Luke.
Okay, so back when I was in elementary, I used to be I was very upset, mean, and frustrated, and I was very angry because I didn't learn to do the things that other people are doing right now, and so I was very mean. I did a lot of mean things and got very frustrated and kind of did a lot of mean things, but since I've grown out of it, now that I've grown out of it, I can still do the things and learn how to interact. And because back when I was in elementary, I couldn't learn to interact with the skills that everybody else has. So now I'm learning how to interact with others, and I got the chance to interact when I was a freshman in high school and a sophomore. So next year, when I'm a junior in high school, I'll always know how to interact. So that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that type of personal experience related back to whatever bill. So let's say you were doing a bill on community attendance, which you all are well aware of. Then you can give that personal experience about talking out and how you're now, either an attendant or training to be an attendant. The personal related to the bill itself is a great combination.
Yeah.
That's right. Good job, Luke. And
Thank you.
one other thing I'll say is when you come to testify for the legislators, it's kind of like a bee colony. You've ever seen bees? They rove around, they're going one place and the next place. And so sometimes they get up and they leave and they have to go outside and take a phone call, or they have to go take care of another constituent. But that doesn't mean they didn't want to hear what you had to say. It just means that they had to step out and take care of something else. But what you have to do is important, and I'm saying that now because I actually have to go take a phone call real quick. But I'll be right back. And it'll only be a 2-3 minute phone call, and I'll try to be right back. But thank you so much, Luke.
Oh, you're sure welcome.
And that is so common. And the one thing, number one, so you know, everything is on the record, so it's all recorded. So, and many of the people will be where HW is in the back, and they're hearing everything you're saying. So there may just be 1 or 2 people up here, and that, I know, especially if you've been waiting a long time, can be a little frustrating because they'll have invited guests first. And so you're sitting there for an hour listening to bureaucrats, blah, 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 blah. And then the public testimony comes after. And so it's really important when you plan to testify to make sure your time is set, because if you need transportation, somebody's picking you up, you're on public transit, all that's important.
Yeah,
Thank you. One
Great.
of the,
thank you.
awesome, thank you, Bob. One of the things I wanted to ask, you were talking about, Luke, you were talking about getting sent home because of your behavior when you were younger. Do you think that that slowed your progress towards where you are now? In other words, do you think if you had gotten to stay in school instead of getting sent home, you would have learned to get along and socialize with people earlier than just now figuring it out?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's why you're testifying on that bill today.
yeah, I'm testifying on that bill because when I was very young, I didn't know how to interact, but now I am.
Okay.
And getting sent home isn't going to help you learn how to interact more. So Luke, you did great, but what Dr. G was saying is don't forget to kind of bring it back around, is to say, you know, when I got sent home from school, it hurt my ability, my progress, my ability to make friends and interact right. So you did great though, buddy. Thank you for sharing that extra bit. Good job. All right.
Hello, my name is Eric Cameron Rankin. I'm with Project LEAP, and I will be testifying for Bill HB 2297, otherwise known as Relating to Prohibiting Certain Releases of a Student to the Student's Parent After School-Initiated Communication by School District and Open Enrollment Charter School. In what world is returning home from school a punishment? I can tell you that nobody I know, past, present, and future, sees that as such. In addition to being an ineffective, reinforcing punishment for many students, the shortened school day can last months or even years. Significant data collected shows that shortened school days can have a catastrophic impact to students as they miss out on crucial academic, social, and emotional learning experiences, negatively impacting their future lives and careers. As a person with autism that has long ago, during my kindergarten and first grade years, been sent home early, I can say that sending kids home early as a punishment causes more harm than improvement. Thank you for your time, and I will be free to answer any questions you may have.
Very well said.
Can I ask a question, just follow up? How did the other students in your class react to you being a person with autism? And how did it affect you in terms of the bill?
Well, I remember being very secretive. I wouldn't really tell many of my students, student friends, students in the room with me, that I had autism out of fear of being scrutinized. So I cannot say that I have had any negative experiences with the other students in first and kindergarten, but that was because I was afraid of what would happen.
Thank you. It helped me a lot to understand the bill.
Eric, that was great, man. I really.
Hello, my name is Samuel Esparza and I am with Project LEAP. I will be testifying for funding accessible playgrounds. A few supporting facts are that in 2010, the ADA required all playgrounds to be accessible to children with disabilities. Also, accessible playgrounds gives families time to spend together. Lastly, the commissioner gives money to schools to build at least one inclusive playground. I'm glad I never personally experienced this, as I have autism and ADHD. Thank you for your time. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
If it's a funding bill, do you have an amount? You know, again, if you don't, you just say you don't know, because you were asking for more funding, you know, that sometimes they may ask. So if you don't know, you know, don't make something up, you know, just say I don't know, or I can get that information to you later, because you frequently may get a question that you can't answer. So that's on any question you get. If you don't know it, don't make something up, you know.
And I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Esparza. You said that you were glad you had an accessible playground growing up. Is that right?
Yeah, like, I'm glad, like, I don't have to be in a wheelchair or something like that.
Okay. And so the accessible playgrounds they're a benefit for everyone, not just people who can especially use them, but everybody gets a benefit out of the accessible playground. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I am with Project Leap, and I am here to testify on the bill HB 2297, which is where students have to be released early from school for their actions. For a full day of school for learning and special education, my 3 facts I have put was this thing is illegal for this to be considered something to do whenever a kid does not know, and it is missing out on social time and social and learning time. My personal story was whenever I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher did not know that I had autism. And the teacher did not put it to where I can learn how I could figure it out. She would get on to me because I didn't know what she wanted, what I needed to do. I didn't know, I wouldn't understand the question. So I was sent to the principal's office for not doing my work the right way a whole lot of the time, or not paying attention. Thank you for your time. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I was
Yes.
I was just going to ask William, were you for or against the bill?
I am for. I know what these kids are going through for that. Because I've kind of been being punished for not doing my work right.
So William, do you think sometimes we all act up, sometimes we don't do what we're supposed to do, but you think it's a bad idea to just send kids home from school if they act up? That doesn't really help them learn what they did wrong, does it?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony. I thought it was well put together, both of y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Ben Schneider, and I am with LEAP. I'll be testifying against HB 3579. I want to bring awareness to 3 major issues about this bill. The first is that the bill limits of conversations about racisms in the classroom. This is bad because then the students don't learn about it's racism, and it's because its effects on society today. The second issue is the bill limits of incentives for kids to get involved in their civic duties. Kids learn better by doing, and we should want our students to learn about their civic duties. I'm not done yet. The third issue, this bill questions teachers' professionalisms. We should trust our teachers overall. It's good to keep students educated by having conversations about racisms from a young age. Thank you for your time. I would love to answer any questions.
Ben, I think you just hit the nail directly on the head. You introduced yourself, you introduced the organization.
Yeah.
You talked about that you were for the bill, against the bill.
Yeah.
And you gave your 3 points in exactly 3 minutes, and you hit it on the head. So, but something that I think is important, especially a lot
it's very
of
important.
groups, that you obviously wrote that and presented it yourself. I've seen where somebody else has written the testimony for the person and they really don't know what some of the words mean. And it's it's real clear to the legislators that you, on the other hand, it was your personal written thing. I can see from the dais here that you wrote it. That is extremely important. You can get help.
Why is it important?
Well, because it looks like you're just speaking words that other people put in your mouth rather than it's coming from you personally. You can get help.
Personally?
Yeah, you can get help from somebody else, and that's important, but it has to be in your words, otherwise it just looks like you're talking for the professional.
Doesn't that start to look wrong?
What?
Don't things start looking wrong if I have read the paper wrong?
No, you did perfect. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I did.
I was
Perfect.
using it as an illustration of how to do it. I'm just giving a point that I've seen in the past, that professionals have written something, given it to the person, and they obviously read it, but they don't know what some of the words mean, and it was put in their mouth, and it's real obvious what that is. So you can get help in your writing, but you shouldn't have them just put words that you don't understand. That's my only point.
And you did, Ben. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
No, you did.
Yeah, I did not read anything wrong.
No,
No.
not at all.
No,
You were
and-
perfect.
They were your thoughts.
Yeah.
And
My thoughts?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ben, I got a question for you.
Okay, yeah. What is it, do you think?
So some people say that issues like racism,
Yeah,
that's something that your parents should talk to you about at home, and some people say that it's something your teacher should talk to you about at school. Do you think it's maybe something that both should talk to you about?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I appreciate your answer, Ben, and just to be clear, you were against this bill because you think that teachers should be able to teach about this stuff, right?
Yep, yeah.
Great. Thank you for your testimony, Ben.
Hello, my name is Alex Quick, and I'm testifying on Senate Bill 8, and I'm with LEAP. In 1973, Roe v. Wade was passed from a 7-2 decision from the Supreme Court, making abortion legal and a constitutional right. And with this bill we have sitting in front of us, the heartbeat bill makes it so a right that we have as citizens is undermined through civic means. In other words, doctors could be able to sue or be sued through the civil courts if someone gets an abortion past the 6-week point or around the point of fetal heartbeat. This opens up a very dangerous precedent. And representatives, do not be mistaken. This issue cannot just apply to one right. This precedent being set can be applied to any single right we have as American citizens. I know as an American citizen myself, I love the Constitution. It is the pinnacle of American freedom. People come from across the country just because of the freedoms we are afforded in the Constitution. I want my future kids and my future grandchildren to have the exact same rights I do. This bill is exactly not what we need. This bill makes it so any possible right we have can be stripped away in the blink of an eye. The first, second, all the amendments we have could be stripped away just because an authoritarian government wants it to be that way. So I'm open to any questions and I'm happy to answer any.
In your opening remark, you said on, or was it?
I should have said against.
You're against?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Alex, the only comment, not on your position or anything, but it was clear that you were passionate and emotional, and that came clear, but you weren't antagonistic.
Right.
I could see that you were committed, even if I disagree with your position as a senator or a House member, but your true passion came through, and that's very important to see. It was very real, not the words per se, because I could be for or against what you said, but I really got the sense that you were really engaged and passionate. So, and that's a very important thing to recognize.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Coffey. You spoke from your heart. I could tell that. Your volume was great. The how high your voice went with the loudness. I could hear you, and I could tell that you cared. And you guys may know this from just your lives. It's hard to care about something that someone else doesn't care about. So when people are sitting up here and they're listening to you, and if you just kind of seem like, oh well, man, then they're going to feel like that too. But if you say, this is something I care about and I want you to care about it too, then they'll perk up, they'll listen to what you have to say. And you did a good job getting the right volume and the right energy behind your testimony. I'll ask you a question, Alex.
Yes.
Is there the SB 8 bill that you were testifying against? Do you think it is? Do you think it's unconstitutional? You were talking about the Constitution. Do you think it's bad against? Do you think it violates the Constitution?
I think that the precedent set in 1973 by the Supreme Court made it clear that whether I agree with it or not, that that abortion from then until maybe in the future, if it's stripped from, I guess, the legal books, that that abortion would be, or Roe v. Wade is constitutional. So given that this is kind of prohibiting someone's rights to have an abortion, then it would be unconstitutional.
I think that's a great answer. We're on different sides on this issue, right?
Oh yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. But your answer was great, and it's informative, and you know the issue very well.
Good job.
And I am with Project LEAP. Today I will be testifying for House Bill 2297, which is about students with disabilities being sent home early from school. Students who are sent home from school often feel left out and fall behind in classes compared to their peers. A student named Delilah was sent home early from school. The teacher said that it was because she was disruptive in class. However, I believe it was because they did not want to teach her. Delilah started to fall behind in her classes and did not want to go to school. Logan, a kindergarten student, never got a full day of school and was kicked out. Because of this, his family had to move from Oregon to Massachusetts in order for him to get an education. In elementary school, I was not sent home from school. However, I was sent out of the classroom many times. This made me feel left out and made me fall behind from my peers. Thank you for your time. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You know somebody that had to leave our state to get an education? Is that in your testimony? That's quite shocking.
No doubt about it.
And is it Lillian? Is that your name?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Lillian, a great testimony. I could tell you prepared for this, and what you wrote down and what you said today was well spoken. I have a question for you, Lillian. Sometimes we, like I've said before, sometimes we all do what we're not supposed to do, and sometimes we can be disruptive. I was disruptive in school sometimes, but you think there's a better way to handle students who are disruptive than just sending them home?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your testimony.
Maria Ireland, and I am with Project LEAP. Today I will be testifying on HB 24, or known as school parks, but I'm kind of testifying for national parks. A quote that I would like to share with y'all is, accessible playgrounds will encourage friendships and socialization in general, but often are not possible in a structured classroom setting. Playgrounds where memories are made. Yet the physical structure of those parks prevents these friendships from happening. This quote is by Gladys Cortez, a council member and the chair of the Council of Project Development. When in 2010 the ADA required all playgrounds to be accessible to children with disabilities, I agree with this, but when they build the parks, I would like for a few disabled people with different disabilities to go check out the parks and say if they agree if it's accessible or not. But if they say that it isn't, I'd like for them to change how they built it. From personal experience, I did a fashion show when I was like 12 or 13 years old, where we were raising money to build an accessible park. And when we were all done with that, a couple years later, I went back to the park and I didn't find it very accessible. Now, for me, it doesn't matter because I'm a teenager and the only light of day I see is on my phone in my room, but I was worried for the younger kids that go outside and do it on swings, like they can't do it themselves, and I couldn't do it. My dad had helped me, so I'm kind of worried that they won't be able to do it on their own, like, because that's what accessible is kind of supposed to be. So, yeah, thank you for your time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you'll have.
And I have a question. You bring up 2 points. One is it's a requirement, in law, but also you bring up the issue. Do you happen to know what the cost might be? And you'll hear this sometimes. They'll ask you, and if you don't know, but do you happen to know what it might cost the school district budget to do?
No.
Okay. Okay.
And it's okay to not know the answer.
Right.
And the most important thing is to be honest, which
Right.
you've been. So thank you for that.
Yeah, the other way also to respond to that was, because you don't know the number, but then you could go back to, but it is in either section 504 or the ADA that they have to do it, and money should not be a requirement. Again, Texas is very fiscally conservative, so the priority, but they also have to comply with state and federal laws. So you can answer a question about money, if it's a rights issue, you can fall back on that in terms of that. So, but your testimony really was very well, you personalized it, and you talked about how needed. But again, you said on the bill, were you for or against? You were just on?
Yeah, I was on.
Okay, that's good. I just wanted to clarify, because they'll always ask you for, against, or on the bill.
Yes, ma'am. And tell me your name one more time.
Maria.
Maria? Maria, one thing I took away from your testimony, which I think everybody would benefit from, and this goes back to something my mom used to tell me when I was a kid, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And you had a quote in your testimony. You quoted somebody else. And sometimes when you're writing testimony, it's hard to come up with some ideas about what to say. Sometimes other people have good things to say, and they said it the best way you can. And much of your testimony came from you. You wrote it yourself. But there was that one quote, and it was right on the money. And so I think you did a good job of balancing your thoughts with someone else's thoughts. It's okay to share someone else's thoughts sometime. You did a good job with that.
My name is Jaden Henderson. I'm here with the ELITE program. I'm here to talk about the critical race theory. I'm against the bill. What I think about the bill is that students should be able to decide for themselves what they want to learn in social studies, and who should tell them. It shouldn't just be their parents. It should also be teachers, other students, other parents telling them about what happened in the past. That way the past doesn't become our future. So one of like multiple encounters that I've had was a person of another race trying to and wanting to call me a word that was used to bring down the spirits of not just men, but also women of African American culture. And I thought that it was, I didn't like the way it made me feel, because it was a word that we had took and turned it into a positive, because we use it to, like, sometimes we use it to greet each other, sometimes we use it to, sometimes it's in our culture and stuff like that. So yeah, I just think that it's a word that, I think that it should be something that should be taught in social studies, not just to be
Like at home.
Yeah, not just at home. But if you have any other questions, I'm free to answer.
Mr. Henderson, thank you for your testimony. I think you did a great job laying out the issue, and you were talking exactly about what was in the bill, and you weren't talking about other stuff. You just brought it right here. I'm sorry to hear that you had those experiences. Those are sad. I will ask you a question. Do you think that critical race theory, which is what this bill is about, do you think that it benefits students to be able to speak about these issues openly at school?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate that answer. Thank you. Kayla?
Yeah, thank you for being here and sharing your testimony, and I think that's a huge part of government, is coming out and telling people your opinions and your thoughts on different bills and legislation, because it's always beneficial to hear another person's point of view. But yeah, thank you for being here and for sharing what you said. It was very well spoken.
Thank you, Jay.
Can you speak a little louder? Sorry, you're a little bit louder. You say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, a little bit louder. Sorry, right here. Hello.
My name is Caleb Ryan, and
I in Texas am with the liver. I with me I on Warring
Extra. Wide. Ramps. With. Special. Benches. Can. Provide. And. Easy. Transfer. From. Wheelchairs. To. A slide. Thank you.
Thank you
For.
you
Time.
and I will
Be.
happy
To.
answer
Any questions?
question
You. Might.
will.
I'm gonna start right back here real quick. I want you to tell them one more time. I will be testifying for HB 3979 inclusive playgrounds. All right, good job. Hang with kid. Yeah, he's gonna give you feedback. He's gonna tell you how you did.
Caleb, I thought that was great testimony. Thank you for sharing it with us. And Caleb, you brought up something really good that I wanted to talk about. Sometimes I have really good ideas, but it's hard for me to tell people about them because I get nervous or something else. And so I've got other folks like Michaela who help me put together my thoughts and share them. So I thought you had really great thoughts, and you shared those thoughts with us today. And then you let Joe come help you with some of those thoughts, and 2 is better than 1. So I thought you did a good job, and it's a good reminder that sometimes we could use another hand to share our thoughts with people. And you did a good job today. I appreciate your testimony.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb, for being here and for coming up and speaking. HW does need some help being wrangled in sometimes. But I appreciate everything you had to say on inclusive playgrounds and being here today and speaking in front of us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen.
This is Carson Kuntz, and I'm with Project LEAP, and today I will be testifying on HB 3979, which is the critical race theory. The 3 supporting facts I have are having social and local structures, Dan Patrick having signaled support, and many groups opposing the bill. My personal story or experience with the bill is that it had some things that kind of upsetted me, like how all the students couldn't get credit and all the schools being angry and all that. Thank you for your time. I would be happy to answer any questions if you have some to ask me.
Testimony. I think a lot of times people make their testimony just about money or about facts, and a lot of times that gets boring. And one of the things you talked about in your testimony was the way this bill made you feel. And a lot of times we argue with facts, but a lot of times emotion is important to bring to bear on these issues. Because laws don't just implicate facts, they don't just stack up to facts. Sometimes laws have real world impacts. They affect us at our house, they affect us at school, and those are where we have our feelings. And so I think it's important, and you did a good job of this, bringing those feelings into the discussion. Good job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carson, for your words and for coming up here and testifying before us today. Like you mentioned, emotion is a good part, and like you talked about how it might affect other people, like some of the schools and other students and your teachers that you might have had. So that's always a good point too, to bring out an outside perspective.
Jason.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is.
My name is Wilson.
And I am.
I am
With.
With
Project LEAP.
Project LEAP.
I will be testifying
I will testify
for
for
HB
HB
24,
24
accessible
civil
playgrounds.
playground.
Children of all
Children of
ages
ages
and
and
abilities
ability
can play.
can play.
So,
So
all children
all children
should play.
should play.
People make
People make
new friendships
new friendship
and good memories
memory
on
on
playground.
playground.
I was grateful
I was grateful
to have
to have
a football team
football team
that would
that would
accept me.
send me.
I want
I want
other students
our student
to feel
to feel
included
I could
too.
to
Thank you
thank you
for your time.
for the time.
I would be happy
I will happy
to answer
to answer
any questions
every question
you
you
might have.
might have.
All right, good job.
Christian, good job on your testimony. That really stuck with me. And another thing I wanted to talk about that Christian made me think about is that, and Mr. Kafka talked about this a little bit, but these hearings can go on for a very long time. And sometimes people forget what people said because they go on for so long. And so it's important to stick out. And you, Christian, you've got the coolest shirt on today.
Yeah.
And it will make me remember what you said for a long time to come. Good job on your testimony.
Yeah, great job, Christian. I loved hearing a personal story about yourself too, on how you enjoyed playing football and how you hope that other students can be able to have that experience as well. Thank you.
Good job, Christian. I told you that shirt was awesome. Did I tell you that shirt was awesome? Okay.
Hello, my name is Travis Fox. I'm with Project Leap. We testifying today on SB 34, also called the Playgrounds Act. Accessible playgrounds are very helpful to me because I have ADHD and autism, and people who need to learn how to play. All children could exercise. Thank you for your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. A wide.
All right. Good job, Caitlin. All right, indeed.
That's what they always say.
Caitlin, that was very good. Thank you for that. And I know exactly how you feel about the bill, that's really the most important thing when you come up here, and Caitlin taught us that here, is that you only got a little bit of time to talk to these people. And so you got to tell them very quickly, this is the bill I'm talking about, and this is how I feel about it. That's exactly what you did. And now I know how you feel about accessible playgrounds, and you make great points about them. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for being up here and testifying. It's a very, like I said, a very important process of government for us to know how people feel. And I just want to let all of y'all know how awesome I think you are. I have never testified on a bill. I can only imagine what that's like. And I just really appreciate all of you being here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Caitlin, that was so good. You know, you did it right off the top of your head. Don't forget, Caitlin, don't forget your personal story is really important. We want to hear more about your personal experiences. And you're going to be a senator one of these days, so keep practicing. She is the senior senator from Austin. That's her.